Previously on Unpacked.
My father was very, very abusive. He opened my legs, and then after opening my legs, he just went in. If you tell anyone about this, I'm gonna kill you. My mom landed on the floor that night, and she took an axe and she hit him.
Wow.
That's when life changed.
Mbali, Kumalo, and Khanyesa Sithole were both raised in orphanages. This is part 2 of their stories. Let's unpack.
What was the children's home like for you?
The children's home was, the way it was designed initially, it was made you to feel like this is your home. So we had a relationship with every mother. It was not supposed to be the fact that this is a mother for house one, then I am supposed to have a relationship with. No, you are allowed to have any relationship with any mother that you want to have. So I had a relationship with 2 of them. So it made things particularly easy because they would communicate amongst themselves as to, Mbali did this time, and then the other one will be lenient. The other one was really strict. So there was like, it was designed initially to feel like a home. But when you stay with a lot of kids, like there's the ones that will feel sort of entitled into being your elder sister, or others will feel entitled as to, you're not supposed to wear the shoes you're wearing. I like them for myself.
Yes.
So that's where bullying came in, and it took bullying was the biggest issue that will make everyone uncomfortable to stay, because there were particular culprits as to, this one is a bully and the other one is a bully, but nothing was done about it because they've always given us reasons, but where are we going to take them to? You can't take them to a state school. That's what they used to call it. They say you can't take them to a state school because already you'll be messing up their lives more. So you just have to bear it out and stay in as long as they are, in the duration that they are there. So I'd say that what made it unbearable for me to stay was the bullying. Because one particular incident that I remember was we were teenage girls. Okay, when they separate us also according to our age groups. So from 13 to 15, they stay in this particular house. So we stayed into a house, and then there was a time where I think they were introducing a section of leadership to us. So we had to pick leaders, vote for leaders as to the leader will be the leader of this passage, and then this other leader would be the leader of this passage. So the leader, what initially does, checks if all your rooms are clean, the bathrooms are clean, and then the passage is mopped, and then you can go to school, or even you can go and play.
Yeah.
So I remember this other time we were supposed to vote for a new leader. This other girl just stood up and she said, I'm the leader now. We are all scared of her. We were all like, okay, I am the leader, and since I am the leader, today I'm checking your wardrobes. You didn't give us a chance to check if our wardrobes are well packed or what. No, your wardrobes should always be packed. And then we got into my room, because I'm messy. Like, generally, I'm a messy person. So my room is always just messy. And then when we got to my room, obviously, my bed is done. The other things are done. It's just the wardrobe that is not packed. I think it was not packed according to her standards. So she said, yeah, why are the socks here? Why are the things here? Like, she became a young version of her house parent. And then I didn't answer her because I don't respond well to violent situations. I just always choose to back away and keep quiet. Even if I feel like I need to say something, I just don't. So at the time, I just kept quiet and I sat in my bag, and on my bed, she took a belt and she started beating me up. And then she beat me in my eye. I still have a scar. And then she beat me up and my eye was swollen. And it was me and another girl. And then she made us take off all our clothes. We remained with our underwears and she just started beating us up.
Did the house parents find out?
The house parent found out, but she didn't do anything about it.
That's so difficult. And I think that's the difficult part of the orphanage is the fact that you're dealing with other children that come from other circumstances that are going through their own things that are now exerting whatever traumas they've experienced onto other children. Yeah. And I think it's fair for you to say that the bullying was the worst part. But outside of the bullying, would you say that, relationships with the house parents, the setup, would you say it was better than the environment you came from?
Yes.
For me, it was in two different areas. When we were living with my grandmother never had favoritism at home. So we don't know what that is. So I go to a children's home and I see this favoritism now. You can live with a particular house parent. They won't like you. And then the other one that you don't stay with is the one that likes you the most. So when you live with this one, when things are called out like clothings and stuff, because we'll receive clothes, like certain brand shops will sponsor clothes out. And then when they come in boxes, they will call certain names first because there'll be cottages where the house parent stays with their own family. So that's where the boxes arrive. They fetch them from their office, they take them to in their houses. And then you'll hear names being called, hey, Mbali, come. And then you realize that people are coming out, they're happy, they have clothes. You will be number 8 or number 10 even. And then she'll come like with a silly excuse, you were sleeping. And you're like, but I was not sleeping. I was sitting and watching TV. Oh, you could have easily called me from my room because there were other kids who were in their rooms. And also you find a situation where the other one will not be there at the time when whatever it is being distributed. But they'll be able to say, I am putting this away
for you,
for this particular person. But you, because you are there, then you'll end up being called the last. I think that's the disadvantage was favoritism.
So favoritism, the bullying, what was the second part? Because you said it's 2-part difference between living at home and living in the orphanage.
At home, you become more free, I'd say. At an orphanage, we had times for everything. Wake up time, eating time, bathing time, study time, work time, play time. So at home, during holidays, you are just...
Do whatever.
You do whatever you want. Even if you feel like you want to make food at 3 a.m. Whereas at the children's home, you'd be sitting until 11 or 12. You can't wake up and go and make food. If you do, you have to knock for the house parent and ask for permission. And house parents will sometimes shout, why are you waking me up because you want bread? And why are you not sleeping?
Why didn't you eat on time?
On time, when you were supposed to eat. Yes.
I understand that. And from your side, which was it better living in a home versus the circumstances at home?
Definitely, it was better living in a home. And not to say, not to take away from my family, but I feel like everything happens for a reason. And when I do go back home and I see how my peers are living and what they've been through, I just don't want that for me. I didn't want that for me. I don't think it was meant for me, and therefore that's why I ended up where I did. And I'm grateful. I'm really grateful because there are many, many, many stories that come out from townships. I don't think I'll be able to survive.
And you think that obviously you had possibly better access to education, better access to certain facilities and things.
And not just education, top-tier education. Because if you grow up in a township, it's I'm not saying, that they don't get the education that they need, but it's not enough. I think they can do so much better in terms of schooling materials. There's school uniforms. There's just so many. The facilities at the school. I think I was gifted with a great opportunity to go to the schools that I did through the children's home that I went to. Because if I lived at home, it wasn't going to be the same.
Yeah.
I don't even think I'd be able to speak English at this point. So I'm so grateful that I grew up in a children's home.
And I mean, in both of your circumstances, there was some form of abuse at your home. In the case of yourself, it was sexual abuse. In the case of yourself, it was physical abuse that happened towards your mother.
Mom.
When you visited mom during the holidays for the 2 weeks, what was her home set up? Because I'm trying to understand if the reason that you were unable to go and live with her is because there wasn't, she maybe would not have been able to provide a certain type of life that now you were accustomed to, hence you stayed at the home.
So when my mom came out of prison, I don't know the time frame, but my mom had a boyfriend. He was very supportive, very nice man, but he passed away in 2008. But when we would go to, when I'd go home for the holidays, my stepfather worked at a farm, and my mom would clean in that house on that same farm. So there was a house like up the road from where they were working. So that's where we'd live, but there was no electricity, there was no hot water. So it was just a matter of, making fires to get water to bath. We use paraffin stoves. Your clothes end up smelling like paraffin when you return. So it wasn't easy living that way, knowing that when I go back to the children's home, there's electricity. I just open the tap, there's hot water.
Yeah.
I can boil water. I don't have to now make a fire to access hot water. So that, in that sense, that's why I'm saying it was better. It was best for me to grow up where I grew up than in that circumstance. Later on, I don't know what happened. My stepfather and mom, we ended up going to Davidson. My stepfather had a house in Davidson. So there, on the farm, it was a brick house. In Davidson, Sayim Queen. So it was also a matter of adjusting to now. Okay, makshisa gyashisa, makbanda gyabanda, and the water thing's still the same, the electricity thing's still the same. I think it's better now because my mom got an RDP house and there's electricity and there's running water. But still, the environment is not for me.
And it's not as comfortable as what was being provided for you.
I grew up comfortable.
What would you say from your side, Mbali, would you share with our viewers that they may not know about growing up in an orphanage, something that might even surprise them?
You get exposed to a lot of different personalities, and you also get exposed to other, I'd say, when it comes to the average soft life that people refer to, at home you get it, because when it's a birthday, they take you to Spur. When there's Wi-Fi, even now, the last time I went to visit, there was Wi-Fi. So there are a lot of positive things that you get from a home. Also, when you go out, they don't just, it's matric, you're out, goodbye. They assist you in terms of, if you can't, go to university, then they look for other opportunities for you.
And I think it's nice that that was available to you. I'm sure there are people who are watching who don't have such nice orphanage stories to share, but I think you're both fortunate enough to be in of the better type of orphanages. What can you share that people might be surprised to know about living in an orphanage?
That I got everything that I needed. So, for instance, living without living in a children's home, when you're living in a children's home, you don't understand what it's like to go to the shop to buy toothpaste and stuff. You just go and you say, I used to call the house parents Ma. So you say, Ma, can I have toothpaste? Ma, can I have roll-on? Ma, can I? And you get it. Ma, I need books. Ma, I need study material. I need textbooks. Ma, there's a trip at school. I need to go to the trip. Ma, there's a camp. Go to the camp. So I got everything that I needed, not everything that I wanted.
Yeah. And I think that's so critical. Obviously, you know, the stories of where you guys come from, that you found yourselves in these places, they're quite sad stories. And the circumstances that brought you there, but it may have been for the better. In terms of where you are today, what is happening with your family that kept calling you a liar? Where are they now?
They're at home. They are trying to patch it up, but I feel like I am the one who is behind because I still have trust issues in terms of, like, if I stay with my uncle, then I'm going to be deemed as, my uncle is going to wake up one morning and decides to say that I said that he raped me.
Is he still there?
He's still there.
Your uncle is still there at home?
He is. He is.
And the family knows what he did, or they still don't believe you?
The family knows very well. No, the doctor was upset, the doctor who did the whole procedure, who checked me, because I also had to go for later on operations and stuff, which were complications that I received from the rape. So
because you were a child?
Yes.
Yes.
The doctor showed them scans of what he did.
Yes.
And they saw the test results.
Yes.
The DNA tests were positive.
Yes.
But still, I think it's like they felt like it was better if I had told them and then they would sweep it under the carpet.
So, just so I understand, they know and understand that you were raped?
Yes, they do.
Okay. And have they admitted it to you that they know?
No. It's just in some ways where you get that they would say it, they would hint that they are aware that I was raped. I remember this other time, my great-grandmother's sister, we were eating and having food, and then I was not there. She's like, no, put away for Mbali. And then, because I was outside, I could hear, I think she did not know that I'm aware of what she's saying. She's like, Nikumbule phela, this child was abused, so angifuni ngaye. So that's when in my mind, I thought, oh, they actually acknowledge now that this happened. Because even after the after effects, you can tell from my hands, when I'm sitting with you, my hands start shaking. Just out of nowhere, they'll start shaking. So I think they could see as time went on that, oh, this one was actually raped. It's just that at the time, we didn't want to believe it.
Why is this uncle still free? Is he not a danger to the other children that are around?
He was arrested. And then later on, they discovered that he's got, I don't know if I'm allowed to disclose his HIV status, but he stopped taking his meds. And then he was released on medical parole. And then we have a protection order
against him.
So there are CIDs. Every time there'll be a family gathering or a funeral, CIDs always come and they remind him that should you come a certain distance to this person, then you will be arrested.
And how do you feel about the fact that he's out and free?
I have blocked him from my mind. I think I've because now at first I used to be upset, especially when I was 16 and I was told to go and see him because he's leaving. He wants to apologize. But when I went there and I saw him, he didn't apologize.
So he wants to see you because he's leaving and he wants to apologize.
Yes.
So when you get there, what does he say?
He said, I ruined his life. He said, I ruined his life and I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. And I was like, thank you, because I really do. Every time I am reminded of you.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he left prison. Because I was with the manager of the orphanage at the time, who was so upset.
Because you were how old at the time?
I was 16 years old.
Sure.
He was really upset because if we were not behind the glass, I'm pretty sure he was gonna hit him or something, because he was really upset. Even the time we drove back home, you could see that he's furious, but he doesn't want to show me that I am furious about what's happening and what he said.
Was that the last time you saw your uncle?
No.
When was the last time you saw him?
There was a funeral at home where my other uncle was buried. He was there. He acted like a mad person. I have a daughter now. He wanted to carry the daughter. I was so upset because I was outside and my sister had the child. When I came back, he's like, no, can I have her? I just want to look at her. She's so cute. And I'm like, no, you don't touch my child. And he started acting, when the police arrived, because then I told the CID that this person is here. And then he started like acting like a crazy person. I want my clothes. He took off his clothes and then he started walking around. And I was like, he's doing this all for attention.
Yeah. I think that whole, I think a lot of the families are the problem.
Yeah.
Why is he even still allowed by the family to be coming there? Like, for the mere fact that you have to contact the police to address him, I'm so confused. And I'm so sorry to you that you still have to deal with this person.
No, I have stopped going home because of him. Because I feel like every time I go home, then it will be spoken about. I have completely stopped. I told myself that I am not going there anymore because it's either his name will be brought up. If it's not brought up, then it will be like, they'll start talking about something else. Like, if this didn't happen, then we wouldn't be in this situation. As if it's still my fault that I went and I reported that he did this to me.
How and when did you eventually leave the orphanage?
I left the orphanage when I was 22. So basically, I wasn't prepared to leave. I honestly didn't know what I was going to do. But when I was at the orphanage, just before I left, one of the directors asked me to put together a portfolio on myself. And then he gave it to somebody he knew at a hotel here in Johannesburg. And I started waitressing there. And then I met three waitresses, at the restaurant that I worked at. And they told me that I would be staying with them when I leave the home, one of the sisters. So when I left the home, I went and I lived, because the home wasn't too far from Yeoville. So I left the home and I lived in Yeoville. So for me, I cried so much because I didn't know what to do. And Yeoville, for me, was just a place where I'd go and see people I know and go back home. So living there was a bit tough because now I have to learn the real world. And now I have to go to the shop on my own and I have to take care of myself, which I knew nothing about really. And so I think that, living in a children's home is great and all, but prepare us for when we need to leave. Because sometimes you don't want to go home. Sometimes going back home is not an option. Like with me, it was not an option.
And sometimes there is no home to go to.
And sometimes there is no home to go to.
Yeah.
So maybe if they had like a program in place to prepare us, financially, mentally, just to prepare us for when we exit, that would have been great. But I had to figure out every move on my own. And I'm telling you, it wasn't easy. It still isn't easy.
What's the relationship currently with your mom like?
It's tricky. We do have a relationship, but I don't think it's like the ideal mother-daughter relationship. something as simple as a phone call, it's difficult to get that out of anybody from my family.
Does that include your siblings?
Yes.
So you guys are also not close?
Yeah, we're not close. If I didn't have family, I think I would be on my own. I do feel alone. So I think me saying I have family is just to say I have family at this point. It's difficult because building a relationship that wasn't there for 22 years of my life and having to now try to build it. And I do try. I call, I go and visit, but nothing is reciprocated. I don't get what I give. So it's difficult to build with people that don't want to build together along to walk the road with you. So I do try, I do my part, but I wish,
Yeah.
you know.
And your side, when did you leave the orphanage?
I left in 2013.
You were how old?
I was 17. I just finished my matric. So, and then when I left, it was the same thing as her.
Why did you leave before becoming a major, an adult?
The orphanage I stayed in, they don't, like after 18, I think their licenses provide up to 18 years. And then after 18, they have to motivate. Why are you still living there? So if school is not, if you are not at school, then they don't know how to accommodate you. So it becomes, I think on their part, it's a shortfall that maybe they need to look at or something. I don't know. But yeah, when I left, it was really difficult because then you leave, and then after you leave, you have to figure out home. They'll just tell you the name of the school you're supposed to go to, and then fill out the NSFAS forms if you're going to school. That's it. And then you have to figure out how you use money. And remember, when you stay in an orphanage, you don't have the luck of receiving money. Like, you don't get cash.
They rather do things for you and give you items.
Money. Yes. So that has been my biggest challenge when I started. The first year, it was like, now I need to divide out of the 1.5 that I get from the NSFAS. Now I need to start buying food. I need to start buying toiletries. I need to start buying clothes. And you need to start making it efficient enough for the whole month, essentially. You don't get any other money except for that.
So on your side, where are you today? And how did you actually get to that place?
I currently work at a company in Bryanston. Unfortunately, I can't mention the name. But I'm very happy there.
What are you doing at the company?
I work as a corporate receptionist. I'm very happy there. I do have a qualification in public relations, and I am currently studying my BCom in project management through the company. So I'm happy that the company supports me and they see the best that I can be. So today I currently I've started running I started with my NGO. I call it Journey of the Butterfly. Journey of a Butterfly, rather, sorry. And basically, I want to raise awareness for kids when they leave the children's home. What happens? I want to have classes for them to prepare them for when they leave, so that they do not experience what I experienced and the difficulties I experienced, because it's better to be prepared than to just face something head on. So that's basically what I'm focusing on. But today, my NGO helps with matric dances at the children's home that I come from. So I'm excited for that for now.
That's good to hear.
Yes.
And what are you doing today now with your life, and how have you come to this place?
I studied interior designing. So I have a business of interior designing.
And do you feel, I mean, there's a lot you had to heal from outside of the sexual abuse. You know, you lost a parent.
I feel like when I speak to my psychologist, it's not that I haven't dealt with it, but it's something that I chose to accept. I just wanted to accept it and move on from it. Because I always feel like I didn't have a relationship with... Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
I always feel like I didn't have a relationship with my mom. So every time, I don't know who she is. So that's how I feel. And also, whenever I feel like I miss her, but I also question myself as to how do I miss someone that I don't know.
There's a bond that happens, you know, by virtue of the fact that you were carried by her. And I you know, I'm sure your therapist has that discussion with you that, and I'm only sharing this with you because I hope you don't carry the burden of feeling like, but why am I missing somebody I didn't get to know?
Yes.
That's your mother. It's your mom.
Yeah.
It's your mother.
I do get that sometimes, like especially when things go wrong and you don't know who you're gonna contact first. Like I do get that a lot as to if my mom was here.
This might not have happened.
This might not have happened.
Yeah.
Or I would be telling her about this. Especially when it becomes so tricky when it comes to the dating life, because I feel like maybe I would have had a best friend, you know, someone who's close to me and who will tell me everything that I would like to know. Or sometimes you become envious when you see someone having a close relationship with their mother and you're like, if my mom was still there, then I would have had this.
I feel for the both of you, you know, in very different ways, just in terms of you not having your mother here and your relationship with your mom not being a close one. I really feel for you because it's rough being an adult, it's rough being a woman, it's rough being a mother. Do you have a relationship with your siblings?
I do have the two younger ones that we stayed with at the home. Our relationship is very close. We talk, even though we don't speak every day. We do speak now and then. And then my eldest sisters, I think the relationship broke out when we left and they stayed behind. Because it's always like, with them, it's like, yeah, but you make yourselves better than we... then better than us, because you have this, and we didn't have it. But also in my mind, I'm like, you had the opportunity to go and you forgot that you are the one who decided. No, our relationship is really, today we get along, tomorrow we fight. If we don't fight, then the other one pulls away.
Yeah.
And you constantly feel like, because with my relationship, especially at home when it comes to my family, I always feel like I have to lend an extra hand. And if I don't, if that hand is cut out, then it means I don't have anything to offer.
That's so true.
I hear you. Ladies, I could stay and talk to you all day, but we have run out of time. Thank you so much, you know, to the both of you for sharing your stories and for how you got to this point. I am so grateful that you both were in homes where, you know, no home will be perfect and it has its downsides, that you were able to be given, you know, a second chance at a decent life considering the circumstances that you were dealing with. I'm very, very sorry about what happened with, you know, to you as a child. I hope you both continue going to seek the counseling that you have been, and that your healing journey can just keep growing and getting better.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Hashtag Unpacked with Relebogile. What are your thoughts on today's discussion? And maybe you yourself have an experience of growing up in an orphanage or a children's home. Share with us your circumstances. How did you find yourself there and where are you today? Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night.
Next time on Unpacked.
Okay, ngibe street kids for 3 years. Yeah, ngiphe for 7 years.
Ngiboshwa ngiphinde ngiphume ngiboshwe ngiphume. Thizi ngize ngiboshwe ngigwetshwe ke.
Basigweba ngo-2004 life sentence.
Kuyagwazwana ejele.
Ngibe victim rape 2 times. Lapha nama uphume ungahlani ayiwobo.
Must make it straight. Akukho mnandi lapha ya.
Thank you so much for watching Unpacked with Relebogile Mabotja. Make sure you subscribe to my channel where you can get to watch more episodes. But more importantly, you can be part of our online community. Comment down below, share with us who you'd like to see on the show, what story you'd like us to discuss. We love engaging with you. Keep it coming and don't forget to subscribe.